Today we are looking at some of my most anticipated figures of 2024, The Legend of the White Dragon 2-pack by Valaverse. And Legend of the White Dragon is a film by Bat and the Sun Productions. If you're not familiar with them, they do a lot of the fan fiction, character beat 'em ups on YouTube. My first introduction was back in high school. I went to school in Staten Island, New York, and the math teacher came in one day and said, "No class today, we're going to watch this video." And it was Batman versus Predator versus Aliens. And I remember he put it on because he said an alumni from the high school actually worked on the film. So I've been familiar with them for quite a while. Now I have a huge display for my Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Lightning Collection figures, but this line has kind of fizzled out. And there's so many characters we haven't gotten. No Squat and Babu, no Bulk and Skull, and heck, I would have loved an Ernie. But either way, this line kind of died, so there really hasn't been any Power Ranger figures. So that's why I was really excited about these two figures. And it's kind of one of the last representations of Jason David Frank that we've gotten in action figure form, at least in his older look. So Valaverse got the license for these figures, and I think this movie has a release date of July. I'm not quite sure, but I am super excited to have these in hand. So inside we have lots of hands, we have the figures, we have the facial expressions from Jason David Frank and Aaron Schunke. I believe he is the one that is a major driving force of the production studio. I'm not sure if he's an owner, but he's also a pretty big toy collector. He loves a lot of the 90s Batman stuff, so pretty cool to have a toy made of him, especially when he's also part of the toy community. And looking at some of the box art, I'm loving the kind of blue and red contrast. You have one of the helmets on the front, Legends of the White Dragon there, and then the Valaverse logo. You do have some nice animated shots on either side, and then on the bottom you can see who has worked on this figure, Troy McKee it looks like. And then over to the right you have the Valaverse logo, Bat in the Sun, but there's no action points. So I really wish Bobby would have threw some action points on here. On the top of the box, you have the logo again, and then on the back, we have some great product shots. And whatever this blue and red smoke effect is behind them, I think that's a really cool photo. So we have the White Dragon, played by Jason David Frank, and then we have the Dragon Prime character, played by Aaron Schunke. And there's a cool little bio at the bottom. I won't read it, so if you get the figure, you can kind of see what the story is, but this is pretty cool. Alright, now that we've looked at the box, we can see everything inside. Let's go ahead, get this open, and check out these figures. Cool faded shot on the backdrop of the helmet, and they both have the same helmet, so it could be either or. But getting these figures out of the package, and they are amazing. You know, I mentioned before, there really hasn't been any Lightning Collection figures, or any. So for me, this will live in that display. And it's funny because I already kind of mix and match my Valaverse Action Force with my G.I. Joe. So same way, these are going to go into my Lightning Collection Power Ranger display. Now we'll get articulation out of the way because they're both the same figures, so we really don't have to do it twice. But the helmet can look down and up. You can probably get more range when it's the head, but you have the shield that's kind of blocking it, but it comes off with a little peg on the back. And the shoulder pads don't inhibit the arms, which is pretty nice. So you can go ahead and lift that about there. So not quite the T-pose, but maybe you can push it further. I just don't want to break it. Bicep swivel works fine. And then the pinless double jointed elbows look really good and have a nice range of motion. So everything seems to be good there. Doesn't have much range moving forward or back, but you can see that cut at the diaphragm, but it does have a nice waist swivel. Then you have a thigh cut and double jointed knees that are pinless as well. And that goes all the way back, so that's really great. Now all Valaverse figures come with drop down hips. They have a great hinge at the ankle and rocker, so everything seems to be moving pretty fluidly, which is really great. So didn't have to heat anything up or anything like that. These were great straight out of the package, and I love the butterfly joints that these figures have. You can get them in some really cool poses, and you can see the range. Now getting a closer look at both of these figures, this is the light and the dark, the yin and yang. Love that they share a similar design. I haven't seen the film because it hasn't come out yet, but I'm assuming they have the same power set. They get it from the same source. Just one happens to use it for bad, the other for good. And I don't think Aaron's character is necessarily evil, from what I understand. I think he just has had very traumatic experiences and is dealing with his problems a little differently than Jason David Frank's character. But they have some great detail all around, so I love that. Jason's figure has all the gold, Aaron's has all the silver and black. But looking at this white dragon, there's great texture on the front, and all the metallics are really nice. There's some texture on the shield, which is pretty cool, and the helmet just looks fantastic. And these fit perfectly with your Power Rangers. They share the same look. I don't know if it's from the same universe, but these look pretty cool. Love all the texturing going down the legs and all the armor pieces that are on the shins and the feet. Now, both characters come with these energy swords or blades, whatever you want to call them. And the White Dragon has the blue, Dragon Prime has the red. So you're going to see a lot of these contrasting colors, kind of opposites, but the same. And, it's all the same sculpt, all the same design, but the colors being different. I think it's really cool and denotes that they probably got their powers from a similar source. We do get some nice figure stands with these, with the logo and the helmet on, and each one comes with their corresponding color. Loving those. Then you do get a bunch of hands, so pretty much the same for each character, and these hands have really nice texture on them on the inside of the glove, but then you see that nice silver paint, but you can really see the texture when you get up close. You get some claw hands, which I think are pretty cool for both figures, so definitely similar to a lot of the Power Ranger figures. And then you do get these gauntlets, and that's so you can remove the fist and the energy blade, and then if you want to have them without the energy blade, you can just put that extra gauntlet on and then put the hand back in, so you can have more in a neutral stand if you wanted to. Looking over some of the head sculpts, this is Aaron Schoenke. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. But he is either a producer, performer, director. I'm not sure if he's the owner for Bat in the Sun, but he has a big part of Bat in the Sun. I know that. So I think he is one of the creative driving forces. But the side profile of this head sculpt, the front facing, this does look just like him, and it's fantastic. Now, these pop on and off pretty easy, no problems there, and the proportions, I would say, are pretty good. And getting it onto his body, this is a really cool look. I don't know if the mask kind of morphs on or off. I don't know if they actually hold their helmets, but looking at the Jason David Frank head sculpt, this one is something we haven't seen before. I love the haircut. You can even see the fade. He has some tattoos going on the side of the head sculpt, so that looks really good. And I just think they put so much work into capturing the likeness. And I don't think the Hasbro ones were bad necessarily, but up until this point, they were all some of the younger head sculpts. So he has a little earring deco on his earlobe, so that's really cool. But just looking at the face, I really think they did capture Jason David Frank's likeness. And this is a more mature look, and I love it. So getting his head on the body, he looks fantastic. And again, I'm not sure whether the head is more of a nanotech where it just kind of appears and disappears. But if you just wanted to have him like this, you could. I'm going to try to pop his head off because I do believe Bobby Valaverse said that he did make sure it was compatible with Lightning Collection. And I have a few variations, and I did have one that didn't fit, but I was able to get a different one on. I think I have one from the TMNT crossovers where he came as a ninja, but I think from either my white or green Ranger, I'm assuming this is from the White Ranger, that's the one that fit. And I think the proportions look great. So if you wanted to have a younger looking White Dragon, even though I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen in the story, and the more mature, older look of Jason David Frank, you can also do that. So just putting the two next to each other side by side, these look really fantastic. So I think this 2-pack is super special. I mean, it's probably the last representation of Jason David Frank we're going to get, especially in one of his last roles. I don't think anyone else has the license for this film, so to actually have this version of him in the collection is pretty great, and they really did him justice. And something that I wanted to try was get my other Lightning Collection Tommy Oliver figures next to him. I don't know what the character's name is because on the box it just has Jason's name. So I don't know if this is kind of like a fan film-esque, continuation of Power Rangers, or if he's going to be a completely separate character. I think he's going to be a completely separate character, but I think we're just going to have to wait and see for the film. Now that I've finally gotten these open out of the box and started posing them, I can already say that these are probably going to be some of my top figures of the year. And even though they aren't truly Power Rangers, these are going to look fantastic in my Power Rangers display. And now I'm super excited, especially since we haven't been getting any Lightning Collection figures. That's where these figures are going to live, and they are going to match up really well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this unboxing. Hopefully you can grab these. I'm not sure if they're still available, but as always, if you can hit like and subscribe, I truly appreciate it. Until the next episode, folks, we'll catch you next time.